Alright, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful and exciting workshop. So far, so good. We have achieved a lot. We've been able to cover the structure, the layout of every web pages, from its fundamentals to advanced styling. And in our previous class, we spoke more about responsiveness, how we develop web pages that run suitable for all screen sizes. So we gave different screen sizes: the phone, which is the smallest, the mobile, which is the smallest, the tablet, the laptop, the desktop, even the TV, smart TVs. These are all screens. So your application to enable or to adapt to any of these screen size when viewed up. That is a typical summary of what we did now previous party. We build a very live um page, a portfolio page, very basic but very powerful, demonstrating how we can use all responsive tools like the image, making image responsive, making different flash to wrap depending on their screen sizes, using a fluid unit for our text, and so on and so forth. We did a lot. And today we are moving forward. Though in the previous class, I said that we didn't add some features like the collapse button, the event, where I said that is now making a page interactivity that we introduced JavaScript. So today we'll be taking moving further. So I will say officially we are welcome to the main core or the main language for front-end engineering or JavaScript. So like you are officially welcome now. So it's just like we'll be doing basic. So we are not talking real business. Yeah. I urge everyone to take every step from this very serious. Please, one class, missing one class can affect a lot of things because it's just like a building. Whatever we say today, by tomorrow we have to lay on it. We are continuing it. It's not as abstract, it's not a different thing. We are laying blocks and we are like building, making a building which will follow. Each part matters. If you miss A, that A will affect you when we are doing B. Alright, so that is it. So today we're talking about JavaScript to TypeScript bridge. Just actually how it so works and why we prefer one to be better and why you should use one of this and how it works. They are all in the same circle. So understanding A makes B easier. I'll be taking these two things like two sections pursue. Like I will place them like an image where I will talk about JavaScript, then I will translate it in Python and TypeScript to show you how this works here and how this works better in this other place. So that's how we do the class so that you can understand the basis while moving further to the advanced. Because TypeScript is just like a more advanced library under or a framework, I will say, under JavaScript. They all stay compiled down to JavaScript. Everything stay compiled down to JavaScript. So our agenda today is an introduction to JavaScript, introducing you to the most common front-end programming language, JavaScript, with a very wide number of community members, right? I think if you check, it should be ranking most communities JavaScript. Tell you how powerful it is and how well used it is. So that's one of the more things we check when choosing a language also. So that you have a large community where you can associate and still grow with the influence of others around the community or within the community. All right. So first we introduce you to JavaScript. Then JavaScript to TypeScript bridge. So we'll just do a very little summary. Then TypeScript setup. This setup we will push it to our next class where we'll do a live setup, but we give a brief intro of how everything works. All right. So introduction to JavaScript. So JavaScript is a programming language used to create interactive web pages. Interactive web pages. What do I mean by interactive? I don't know if you can see my entire screen here. Clicking on this, something happens. I click. Rahim, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Do you see what I click now? Is it showing?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
it's
good,
showing.
perfect. All right, so I can see I click again, it collapses, opens, right? So this is kind of I am interacting with my page. So your question is, what makes this guys interactive? Here comes the language we introduced to you, JavaScript. Now you can now start seeing, okay, you can now uh, uh, divide or separate any website you see to know, oh, this part, look at what they did with it. This part, okay, this is just HTML that they achieved it. Oh, this is interactivity, look at what they did using particular thing. And there are some things maybe you can be wondering, how did they achieve this? What did they use? Right? So it goes like curiosity. So that is it. That is it. So that is knowing this fully will help you diagnose or break down any website you see and articulate them in parts, right, and sections to know, okay, this one is going for this and this one is going for that. So it said that this is a programming language used to create interactive web pages, just like I've designed. So first features, you must know that this language basically or mainly runs on the web browser, only for the front end. I will say basic because that is what I will call, though we have the Node.js framework now for server side, right? But JavaScript is well known for front end. So when you talk about front end, we're talking about JavaScript. Right? So they are more powerful language that still go the server side like it recommends. Right? But JavaScript is still very powerful and it's topping rank when it comes to front end. Alright. So first it runs on the browser. What are the browsers? Your Chrome, your Firefox, Opera Mini, UC browser, etc. They are the browser. So this um, language V8 engine runs on V8 engine. Yes. So it's running on top a browser. That is it. It doesn't run on my directly on my PC like my whatever. No, it runs on the browser. So whatever thing you are developing here, we test it on the browser using a proper or a local host just to view it. Okay, so next thing, so makes website dynamics and interactive. We have spoken about this. So works together with HTML and CSS. So this is what is manipulating actually. So at the end, we are trying to manipulate these two things and give a better, just like having. Let me have something. Just like having the summary of everything I'm saying. Let me just give a very. I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see the draw pad, the auto draw? Oh, you are still seeing the slide.
Yep. I can see the slide.
So I have Chisholm here. Welcome back, Chisholm. Chisholm, how are you doing? Also, Hemi. These two have been very, very consistent, even our previous class. Welcome back. So I believe you heard the introduction of what I said, and this is powerful. So at the end, we'll be manipulating what we did in your previous class to add some JavaScript interactivity, interactiveness on it to make it more interactive. Again, do something shaded on our menu bar. All right, so I want to share something. Let me stop this screen. Let me share my entire screen. My entire screen. Good. Please, they can see it. Confirm that you can see my screen.
It's still loading, sir.
Can I? Jason, are you saying something?
I can see now, sir.
Oh, I can't hear you. I hope you guys can hear me. Rahim, please confirm. Can you hear me? Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm trying to explain something, so I have to share my entire screen. So I open up this. Let me just give a basic illustration how all this thing works. So I have an image. Maybe I want to build a car. Let's assume it this way, right? First thing I will do, I start getting an image how the car should look like, right? After the car, I can have a simple image or simple structure. Let me just draw. Okay, draw shape. You're giving me shape. All right, good. So let's say I just draw something like this. Don't mind my car. My car is sorry. Just want to draw something. Maybe let's assume. Let's assume this. I'm just giving a very basic illustration. Now we have this. I think this car is fine now. What do you think, Raheem? All right. I did something great. So let's assume this. Right? Let's assume this. So you can see that this thing I did here, I already achieved here. There are different components of which I have added. And by default, this is not interacting because this is image, right? Or even this, if this is an object, let's take this as an object. As an object, this is static, meaning I cannot move this car around. I cannot command him to do something and he does that. I cannot make something, maybe the door to open, something like that. These cars are just static. Then along the line, I just say, okay, and this is just typical example of what the HTML and the CSS is doing for us. So you just have something designed this way. It's naturally interactive, but it's fine. When looking at it, you admire, this is fine, but the main functionality is not complete. So then, when we introduce JavaScript, I don't know if I can write with this. Let me see. Behind JavaScript, JS in short. When we introduce JavaScript JS, then we can now model this one, or we can now develop something like, oh, this should have, this is how the engine should work. Something should happen, and this car should start moving. And if that thing happens, this car will start moving. You can see like we are giving a statement or a condition of this car. Oh, maybe ignition should be on, there should be a gear, it starts moving. When I have a button, my door can open. When I press something, my boot can open. And now you can see they have this object is not interactive. It's not interactive. Very, very interactive. And that's where you can press a button and light comes up, and you can press something, the light goes off. You can see how interactive. You can on your wiper and start working, and so on and so forth. So many features. So that is the work of the JavaScript in our mobile app. At least in our mobile page. I believe that explanation do something to this course. All right, so that's what we mean by works together with HTML, CSS. So it makes them interactive and more responsive. Next is one of the most popular programming language in the world. So I've said that you can't deny the fact. It's very, very popular. If you can search your top front end programming JavaScript and the total language in the world popular, I think it should be around second or first. 1 second, can always search that for yourself to see how popular this language is. Popular this language is. So example uses where we can use what can we do with this in a real life scenario. So we can use it for form validation. Form validation. You have your form. You have your form. Oh
What?
my god, sorry. Are you saying something? Hold on. Somebody is saying something. Is that Chisholm? Any problem? Okay. I believe there's no problem. Alright, so I want to show a demo here. So let's say I have my form. I have a username, a password, and let me if I can shade this one, and a login button. The login button. Yeah, so let me just remove this. A login button. Right. Excuse me. All right. Thank you. So let's assume this is our our login page. So I'm asked to enter my username and password. So I'm able to type this. Then I click a button. When I click a button, this button login, login. Something like a spinner can start coming up by checking something, and you can see maybe success, or you take it to a home page. When it's successful, home. Don't mind my writing. Or it gives you an error to say maybe invalid, incorrect password. So you can see that something is interacting with you to know where the problem and what happened. So you can see the interaction there. So for form validation, just like I explained, interactive button, just like I explained with the login, animations. Animation, like you have seen something moving on their own, something just behaving like those things are animation, right? Then fetching data from the servers. So this is very, very important, right? From the APIs, getting data from the server side, that's from the back end guys, right? How to receive information and send information to those guys, right? The logic guys, and interact with them for your code to work perfectly with their own whatever they have, whatever API they have provided or given. So that's the function. Then let's talk about very vital thing, JavaScript syntax. So what is JavaScript syntax? What is syntax? I've sent out countless times. So these are sets of rules that define how JavaScript programs are written and structured. So when you hear syntax, a rule will follow, just like our basic grammar rules in English, right? So the syntax ensure that code is understood by the browser or JavaScript engine. So JavaScript statements, that is the first syntax we want to check how you see JavaScript statements. So this is how JavaScript plays their statements. You can see a keyword let, a variable name, assignment operator, and a value with a semicolon. So this is how we got a statement in JavaScript. You can see these are statements. These are statements having the same pattern: a keyword, a variable, assignment operator, and this ones becomes the value. So first thing, another thing is the JavaScript comments. So comments used to explain code and are ignored by the JavaScript even on the browser. So we did comments in HTML, we did comments in CSS, and also in JavaScript you can see that there's still comments. In other programming languages, comment is very essential because you must, at a point, you try to make note of whatever you're doing so that anybody reading your code, or even when you come back after a long time, you can still read through the note and know what that particular code is doing. very easy. So it's very important, very important. All right, and they are ignored by they don't run. They don't run because they ignore them. So we have two types of comment: the single line comment and the multiple line comment. So this multiple single line means just on a straight line, just on this line. Because after the once I break this line, my comment stops. But the multiple line means I can write on so many lines. So the difference is using this forward slash asterisk and the same thing at the closing. And in between this line, you can write as much as possible. But when you want to write just one line, you can use this double forward slash. How it works that. The next one, I think something to mention is the shortcut is control question mark. Right? I think for every languages, that is a shortcut. For Windows, though, I don't know about Mac though. I'm using Windows. For Windows, is a control question mark. I think the same thing should happen for those using Mac. It will be command question mark. You can say try that. Alright, so next one is JavaScript is case sensitive. So what I mean by case sensitive? When you say capital letter A and letter comes and you say small letter a, there are two different things. Capital letter A is capital letter A, small letter a is small letter a. There's not like both of them are AA. They are different. So that is what JavaScript says. So look at here, you can see that let n name, this is same name, this is the same name. But this letter is n and this one is capital letter N. These two things are no longer the same. They are different. So they are case sensitive. So you should know that how I call myself. If I call Chioma with capital letter C, or if I name something Chioma with capital letter C, I should always call him with that capital letter C. Anytime I try calling him with a small letter C, that means I'm calling something else. So please note that. That's what we mean by JavaScript being case sensitive. And JavaScript semicolon. So you ask this semicolon, what does it do? So this separate statement and also kind of end of a code. So though it's not kind of strict in JavaScript, that means you can actually code without it, but it's always recommended that you use it. But most languages, or when you set up the strict mode, you must put it. If you don't put it, that means there will be an issue. There will be an issue. You must close the code. You must close the code. Alright, so the JavaScript code blocks. So code blocks group multiple statements together using this curly brace. You can see when I want to have multiple line codes or multiple statements, what are statements? Those simple instructions we are sending to this computer. You say do this, it goes to another line, do this. Those things are statements. So when you have to get multiple at once doing the same thing, you can use this code block in this curly brace, curly bracket. And now let's talk about TypeScript. So I said I will be going side by side with both of them. So I have spoken more about JavaScript and you can see how JavaScript works. Let's talk about TypeScript. So TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript developed by Microsoft. So look at two important things is this superset, or let's just highlight this one, superset of JavaScript. That means it's built on top of this. So it's gotten from this. So this is just like a child that improved from this parent. So what everything that's happening here after this still converts back to this. So developed by Microsoft. Alright, so this is just TypeScript saying is equal like JavaScript, the entire of JavaScript, everything of JavaScript plus extra features. It's just like a son inheriting a company from a father. And the son now based on more experience, more freshness, more exposed, more easier, no much heavy work, and it adds so many features to that organization. Same thing happening in TypeScript and JavaScript. So TypeScript was taken out from JavaScript and added some things to make life easier. Maybe a set of, let's say, Microsoft being the group of developers. I said, oh, look at the major challenges. That means there are also good use of JavaScript, because before you can do that, you should know JavaScript so well, right? So they can see that it's very how popular the language is. So after knowing so well, they say, okay, look at some little challenges some users or people face. JavaScript only works perfectly well when we are building a very little project. But when we're building large projects, you now find some things more harder to manage, right? Like some rules. There's some data types, invalid data types, some things, right? So that's where TypeScript is okay. We can solve something and introduce it and break out, give it its own name, TypeScript. this whole installation and everything. But everything still compiled by back to JavaScript and runs on the browser. All right. So TypeScript has static typing. You can see this is it. Static and beta development tools. So this static means it's no longer dynamic, it's not flexible, it's fixed. It's static, it's kind of fixed. Like, yeah, it should be like this and it should remain like this. If you try to counter it, I don't allow you to run. I won't even allow you to even compile. I will show you the error. I won't permit you. That is what TypeScript is saying. And beta development tools to JavaScript. So there are more tools, there are things that are added to this JavaScript. So you help developers catch error before running the program. So this is just what I said. So you catch the error before running the program. Doesn't allow you to compile. All right. So why TypeScript was created? So JavaScript works well for small projects, but can become difficult to manage in large applications. So look at some problem it's solving. TypeScript solves problem like hard to find bugs, right? So there are things you have looking for, very difficult in looking for where is this problem coming. You can't even trace where the error. So this makes things, since it's very strict, very static, we can point directly where this error is coming from. Straight to the point. Don't need to start guessing or start thinking otherwise. So this poor code organization, so help us to organize our code very well, and lack of type safety. So your data type, right? You are very sure and secure about the data type. Nobody comes and tamper it, right? So that is important. So look at some things to know JavaScript versus TypeScript. So for the futures, for JavaScript, typing is dynamic. That means it changes. And so I can write one and later come back and change it to string. I can write a number and come back and later change it to a string. But TypeScript said no, you are not allowed to do that. Once you say it's a number, it remains a number. So don't no changing. Right? So it's kind of straight. That is why it says static. So error detection. So this JavaScript runs as runtime. So as you are typing, after you are done, we give you check the error. But for TypeScript, immediately you are typing your code, it tells you the error, doesn't let you proceed. And development, it is flexible, and TypeScript is more structured. And learning curve, this is actually true, a beta true. JavaScript is easier, and TypeScript is slightly harder. It's a true. It's very, very, very. I don't know if it's a bitter truth or honest truth. I don't know how to place it, but there is truth in it. Absolutely, there's truth in it. So you have to know JavaScript before you know how TypeScript works, so that it's easier for you to move forward. Imagine after knowing this, moving to this makes more easier. So those complexity will not be much on you anymore. So you try to understand them little by little, and it makes sense because you already know about this. That is it. Just like learning, you knowing how to drive a small car. Learning driving a big truck won't be that hard, right? It won't be that hard. But imagine a newbie who doesn't know how to drive, and the first thing is trying to go and drive a big truck. I mean, that is a disaster. That is a disaster. They will say no. You have to know those basic ones, know how they work. So that is what is happening here. So let's take example code differences of JavaScript and how TypeScript say okay, this is how we should write it. Their syntax. So JavaScript say let age equals 25. This is the number, and JavaScript comes back here and say age change, we update it. We now re-update it to 25, which is a string. This is a number. This is a letter. So 23. So this is allowed in JavaScript. JavaScript will mark is okay. Okay, you are allowed to do this. But TypeScript said no. You are not allowed. When you declare a age, you put this column. Tell us the data type it is. Is it a number? Is it a string? So if you say it's a number, so you must specify this. This is compulsory for TypeScript. You tell us which number it is, unless you want it to be for a particular reason. You want to be dynamic. I think we have option for that. I'm leaving it to decide on its own which one to use, right? But by originally 80% or 90%, you have to statically specify these data types. Right? So we say a number 25. Coming here and changing it to a string is an error. TypeScript will permit you. That's what we are saying. So you can see different syntax. This one don't need the data type. You choose the data type on its own. Any data type you give him, he will just think about it and just choose it. So this is like automatic. This is like manual. And most times manual cars are easier than more easier to control and manipulate than automatic. I think everybody, those that drives can be a weakness. So example two. Example two. This is a function. You can see JavaScript just writes these parameters without even telling us what type of parameters it is, and they can add any number to it. But TypeScript said no. If you give us a parameter, you must give us a data type and the parameters number or string, so that if you give me a number, watch, if you give me a number and you give me a string, I try to add them, TypeScript will give you an error. You can't add a string and a number together. For JavaScript to do that, it will concatenate it. JavaScript will concatenate it for you. But TypeScript said no, we don't allow that. A number should be a number, a string should be a string. Alright. So if I add this, if I try to change this to a string, this will give me an error. Maybe for this 5, I now say a string of 10 to give me an error. But JavaScript here, I can say a string of 10 and to give me 510. It will concatenate. Alright. So that is for function. And another thing here is JavaScript does not enforce object structure. So this we'll speak about this in detail when we talk about object. Alright, so we'll talk about objects. Then I'll introduce you to some things. I'll be doing JavaScript and introduce you to the modification of TypeScript. That will be like a migration. I teach you this, then we migrate. I teach you this, we migrate. That it will be more easier for us to go and understand. So JavaScript will say a object name, open parenthesis, give it its key, parameters, and assign the value. So these are key pairs, the key and the parameter and the value. So JavaScript is okay with this. No structure type, no object structure. But TypeScript said no. First of all, structure how the object should look like. This parameter, this name key I am assigning, what data will it hold? Is it a string? Is it a number? This ones I'm adding, how many? And if I try to add anyone that is not included here, it will give me an error. Say no, you have, this is what you structure. You shouldn't add much. Add more, or less I made it, I specify it myself that oh, this is open to add anyone at any time. But if not, by strictly by enforcing that rule and making this, you say this object match with what you have shared, it will give you an error. They say this ensure that object matches the defined. So however you have the structure, that is how your object should look like. Anything other than that, and this makes code very safe, right? It makes it very safe. That anybody that tries to tamper your code will not easily have access to insert some things into your object, into your cart, right? You have blocked everything, like you have basically say, okay, this is how it should look. Anybody trying to tamper it, to expand it, it won't work. It give you error. Alright, so you can see kind of a bit safe. And that will be all for today. That will be all for today. So any question? So after this class, I don't know if we have spent up to an hour, but I said I was spending just an hour for this class so I can do other things. I think we are close to an hour. So any question? So if we have some time, I will open up the previous code and add some JavaScript features to it, so we can see the interactiveness of what we are discussing. So any question? Disum, Rahim, yes. Did I say something strange, or you grabbed based on how fast you are in learning?
I understand this, sir.
All right. Are you totally new to JavaScript, or you have idea before now?
Totally new.
Okay, you are welcome. To feel what we did, I will do a recap. All right, so first thing I did, please confirm that you can see my screen and it's good enough. Let me increase.
Yes, sir, we can. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So what we did, we created a folder separately in our application just to add this, and this is created another folder for CSS and JS. So I have index.html. So I started by explaining why it's index. So this is the entry point. is what is most recognized. So that's why most whenever you try to download any source code, you must see this index in their folder structure, because this is what the browser kind of recognize. This is our entry point of every website, right? So everything I'm doing here must be linked to this index. So that's why you're seeing index. They show this is like our main. Okay, so the doc type and everything, and we are trying to make this page responsive. So I don't know how we. Okay, let me just run this code and I'll explain. So I may not use the entire code. So this is exactly what we did in our previous very simple web page. All right, very simple, that explains some things that you can use to design your own portfolio and everything. Any beautiful homepage you want to achieve. All right. So there are more things. Maybe I will give you another more assignment on this to upgrade it, building your own portfolio, right? To have your image, have things about you. So I will kind of give you a design of that so that you use it to design your own and make it responsive. I think I will try to provide it before next class, unless. All right. So if
good afternoon, co-doctor.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw what you posted up here. Now, was that the previous assignment?
No. That was a class work. No, it's not. Do I call it a class work? That is a class project, a workshop project. We did that live in our previous workshop. We did the coding from beginning to the end.
Oh, I missed that. Because now I wasn't available last week, and now that I've jumped to JavaScript.
The video is available. The video is available, so you can
Okay,
watch
the
everything.
video is available. Oh, okay.
Yes, the video recording is available of the class, so you can rewatch.
Okay, I'll do.
We will do that. All right, thank you very much. So rewatch it and you're able to do my assignments. I'll provide a design for you. So once you rewatch it, you should be able to do that. It's well explained. So you can see that I use my media query to do something, right? So let me leave it to be responsive and just adjust. So you can see that my screen, at last screen, look at what happens to my menu. When I get to certain breakpoint, it changes for my tablet. This is for my tablet side because we discussed the breaking point for this. It's breaking point. So I change this to this trigram of heaven. I think that is the name of this. Trigram of heaven. I think that is the name. Alright. So from my tablet down to my smaller screen, it maintains this. And you can see that everything here is responsive. My card here is using the response. We don't even use much media query. We use normal flexbox and I think majorly flexbox in achieving all of this, to making it very, very responsive. You can see as I increase, the card adjusts to the width. Even our text is also using the fluid, and you can see that all is perfectly responsive, even our footer. So we did that live during our class. You can see everything is. So if I want this to achieve more, maybe I can twist here. I can add more space so that it doesn't even join together. So before joining like this, they will break. So these are common sense or common thing you can just reason. So if I don't want them to come close, I can just give more space inside or more space outside of this one, and give it space. Before they meet, it breaks. So that makes more sense. All right. So today, let's see. I'm adding interactiveness to this very button. So you can see that at my last screen, my menus are showing, but for this one, if I click this, it's not showing. Nothing is happening because I'm clicking, and I introduce you to some things in JavaScript. So today I'll be adding that code. I think this is it. So brief recap on the code. So this is what handles the navbar, the entire of nav. You can see my comment, navbar, how important my comment is. And from here you can see that the navbar goes from here ending to where navbar ends. I think navbar ended here. Alright, so easier for you to easier know where it ends. You can just come here and collapse it, and you see this is my entire navbar. Then I have a section, hero section. I can collapse this section and you see where it ended. And I have another section, card section. You can see how I separate them, and we have the footer. Alright, so that is it. So I'll be introducing this JS. That's why I created this JS folder. I'll be introducing it. Alright, excuse me for a minute. Okay. All right. So what I will create here, I will create an entry point also of my JavaScript. Let's say index.js. So this is a file extension. This is a file extension. The file extension says .js. If I'm writing a different language, I should have this. So I will introduce something to you. So when I taught you on CSS, I give you different ways you can have CSS. So the same thing happens in JavaScript. So basically we have almost the three patterns: inline CSS, external CSS, and internal CSS. Almost the same thing we have it in JavaScript, because in JavaScript can also be added inline as attributes. Here I can have on an event here, a function event, but we are limited and say on click. Right? So this is JavaScript inline. All right. So this is JavaScript. So I can also come back and say internal, and I open up below here, and I open up a script and write all my JavaScript code in between this.
Hello?
Just like this CSS.
Evening, bro. You shop?
And I can also do this one, the same thing I'm doing here,
okay, I
external.
come back.
But I also
I come back,
external to make your code readable. So I'll be using the external. So I believe nobody is confused about what I have done so far. See some? Any confusion? I'm not seeing the. So you can unmute and speak so I can know that you are with me. Any confusion so far? Are you with me? Chisom, Rahim, Emmy, any confusion?
Yes, sir. There's no confusion, sir.
All right. Okay, so so far so good. Let's review our code. Okay. Sorry, let me take. Sorry, I had emergency call. Let's proceed. So I will be using the internal. So whenever you use the external, I'm using the external, you make sure you link. So to link this, we use the same scripts, right? So the scripts, the same way we use the script. And under this source, I will link the external. So I'll enter here, enter JS, and I will link the index. So I can start writing. So for me to test out, I can just say alert to test that my JavaScript is working, and say my post JavaScript code. Please note something. JavaScript and Java are not the same. They are two different programming languages. Alright? They are two different programming languages. Please note that. So I can say this and I will use the color. So let me run this code again. Let's see what we have. Okay. Web page. I run this. You can see it runs here to show my JavaScript is working perfectly well. Perfectly well. Perfectly well. Alright, so let's review something before I proceed. So now we are focusing on this navbar. We're adding this navbar, this interactiveness on this menu bar. So if I inspect this and leave it at last screen, you can see that it's showing me this menu. But immediately I comes down to smaller tablet screen or mobile screen, it changed to this triangle of heaven. And if I click on it, I'm expected to see by seeing this, you know that maybe it's clickable for you to get your menu, By clicking on it, nothing happens. Right? So there we want to make it interactive. So very easy thing we do. Let's go back to the code and let me see the structure again. So what we did. So the structure of this code, let's see what we did here. We have our navbar, that's what we focus on, and this is where we added that trigram of heaven, and this is where we have our links. All right, this is where we have our links. I think that is all. So let me check the CSS. So let's see what happened, what we did to this. So I open my CSS and I will see what is the name of this one. We gave it navbar icon. So let's see what we did on navbar icon. So to search, you can say Ctrl F, navbar. Okay, it's together, navbar icon. So I can see where I have it. I have it in two places. So one, I did it at media query at this screen. You can see that I did it here at this screen at maximum of this is a tablet breakpoint. So what will I do to this navbar? Icon will be blocked. That means it will be visible. It will be showing. You can see at this screen, and I'll remove something. And this nav link will be display will be none. It won't show. So all we can do, you can see that all we want to do now is whenever this guy is click icon, we should change this display to block to start showing. That is all we have to do. All right, so let's do that now. So I will rename this guy. So let me do something. Let's introduce it to event. So let's see the ID on this. Okay, I'm searching the second part. Let me see what I did the second part. So that I don't just navbar. So we did this navbar icon. I changed the display to none and the color to white. So that's what I did here. I changed the color to white. This is a variable. So we did that in our previous 2 classes ago. So you should watch through the videos. Alright, so that is all we did. So on this first thing, so I need this man. 2 things I need here. I need 1 and I need 2. I need to click on this guy whenever it's small screen and show this man. That is very simple instruction I want to do. Whenever, let's go back to my browser. Okay, whenever I click on this trigram of heaven, show me the menu, and if I click it again, remove it. Just like that, as easy as we can understand. So first thing I will do, I will call this in my JavaScript and call this in my JavaScript. So let's test from this. So let's give this an ID. So when calling in JavaScript, make sure you call them with the unique names. Alright, so that you can identify properly that particular element you want to call. So I'll give it an ID called nav icon. So I can copy this nav icon. So I would like to design this thing side by side. So let me spread this and do this expand. Good. So I can return here. Good. I want to design them side by side. So So I'll remove this one. I'll remove this. Sorry, let me reduce this screen size a little bit. Good. All right. So I will declare a variable. So don't worry, we will talk about this variable later on. So I can use the let me give you the same name, navbar icon. So this is actually JavaScript, not TypeScript. Right? If it's TypeScript, you identify the type, so I can leave it dynamic. So I can use the document to get the DOM. Document.get element by ID, and I call the ID name. I say the ID name is, let me paste navbar. So this is what we said. So let me log navbar, this variable now. Let's see what is holding. Let's see what is holding this name. Let's see it. So I will open the browser again, refresh, and open my console. See, this is where we check our console on our browser, and refresh again. So you can see that it's holding what we console log on line 3. On line 3, line 3 is the console log of this. What is showing here is showing the entire element holding the ID navbar icon. So that's what we want to do. We want to make that wherever this entire ID, if I move on this, you can see it. It's highlighting it here. Whenever I click on it, this guy should do something. So let's proceed with our code. So I can remove this and add an event. I say navbar dot add event listener. What do I want it to do? On click, when it's click, do something for me. Then I'll add a callback function. So don't worry about this. We'll discuss it breakdown. What is function, callback function, arrow functions, and all and all. All right. So what do I want it to do? I want it to console log and say, maybe let me write, I am clicking trigger. All right. So let's see what happens. So I'll refresh again and click. You can see it. Immediately I click, it says I am clicking trigger. I can click, and when I click, something happens. So I can actually click and tell him to alert whenever I click it, something will pop up. So I can change it to alert. All right, and I can refresh this again, and whenever I click alert, I am clicking trigger. Okay, click again, alert, and you can see interactiveness. So that is how we use JavaScript. So our aim here is to change this, make this guy to show, display it. All right, so that is our aim, to display it. So to do that, I will call the element again. So I can say navlink, and I will say document dot get element. Do I give this one ID? So let's give this an ID. Now links. All right, so I can copy this and say get element by ID, and I will call the ID name. All right, so let's say whenever I click console log, whenever I click it, the console log is now links. Let's do it this way. So let's see. I will refresh, and whenever I click this, it's console log this man. You can see it. It shows me all the link and their list. Home this, and you can see this one has a plus. So I can add the styling now with this code. So I can just say I can do it two ways. I can change the style from display. So let's try that one first. Let me show you. So I can say but I think there is a danger for using this. I will show you this one I want to do. There is a limitation to it because it will override everything. So let's see. So this can say nav links dot style dot display, and I'll change this display to block or to flex. I think that was the word before. It was in flex. This was flex. So let's see something. I will refresh. I change this. I can see. Immediately I click on this, it shows this. Immediately I click this again, but if I click again, nothing happens. So that shows that there should be more command. I should have more command here. So if I refresh again, it will come back to normal. If I click, it shows me this again. I can see that something is happening. So if I refresh, I click on this, it shows all the settings and display. So we'll explain on this one first. We'll explain this one. Then let's use this one before we move to the next one. All right, so I hope you are getting it. Rahim, any confusion?
No, sir.
There's confusion there. How?
Hemi.
When I no.
Okay. Your confusion is not surprising. It's normal. It's usual. It's norm. Your confusion is the norm. All right. So if you missed the previous class, whatever I'm doing, so that's what I told. Who is that? That is Rahim. I hope my code today will not look shocking, like surprising, like strange, because you have to understand what we have done before bidding for the next one. All right. So let's proceed. So if I click on this, it shows this. So, but I don't want this to show, so I can hide this one, and instead of making this guy to be less, I can return it to block. So let's return this to block. I can say at this point, change it to block, BRUCK, and I will call this navbar, this trigram of heaven. I will call him, change the style and the display to none. As simple as that. And if I refresh, if I click this, this will hide and this display will show. So maybe I may decide, once instead of hiding it, I will change it to X. All right, so I can do that. So let's say I can say, instead of none, I can say navbar.icon.text content, or we will do all these things, and I will change it to a big capital letter X. So I can refresh this, and whenever I click this, it will change to X. You change to S. Hold on. It's this line. To take just 1 hour, and I've taken 1 hour 21 minutes. Amazing. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Hemi, for your consistency. Is it Hemi?